What's up, Armor Down? I want to tell you a little bit about the training that we did this morning. If you want to train, check out our Patreon. There's a couple options for participation. I, of course, encourage you to do the $50 a month option. If you do it for 3 months, you get a free Armor Down meditation cushion. It's just the best meditation cushion in the world. There's no other meditation cushion like it. So if you sign up for the $50 a month program on Patreon for a minimum of 3 months, you get that, plus you get access to all the training. And so you don't want to miss out on that. And I mean, here's what we talked about today. So what we talked about today is very relevant to what's going on now in the world. We've got a conflict going on, a massive conflict going on in Ukraine. Okay. Not only do we have that going on, but we also have the narrative coming from different sources about what that conflict means. And it's really, really important to understand that so much of how we interact with the world is through the filters of how we see things. So certain organizations, certain entities see things a particular way. And so you can, for example, you can see how the Russians are framing the conflict. And not so, I shouldn't even say the Russians. You should see how Putin is framing the conflict, right? Russia is invading Ukraine to protect Russia, right? You can see that. Now you can go immediately, we talked about this in the training, you can go immediately into the story that Russia creates. And it's, the United States bombed thousands of people in Iraq and Afghanistan to protect themselves from weapons of mass destruction. What's the difference, right? That's a story. Another story could be the story of Zelensky and the Ukrainians. We are fighting for our freedom. We're fighting to exist. We're fighting against this massive force, and we're the underdog, and we're not giving up. So that's a story, that's a story. Media channels that are telling the story. So there's Putin, there's Zelensky. Then you got the media channels, right? Certain media channels are saying different things. And so we talked about your choice, right? You can identify with that conflict, which we explain in the conversation. We explain in the training. Then we talked about what to do other than identify with the conflict. So the difference between becoming the conflict and participating with the conflict, which is the training that you would get if you got on Patreon. The difference between the two is the practice. So when you identify with the conflict, you essentially become it, and you become it in your mind, you become it in your body, and you become it in your heart. And typically what you'll see inside of conflict, especially inside of narrated conflict through filters of media, et cetera, is explanation for where the conflict came from, what it means in the future, and then this is an important one, who to blame, right? So when you identify with the conflict, a big chunk of identifying with the conflict is blaming whoever else is part of the conflict, and that's a story. So again, we talk further about this in the training. But what I want to point out to you, and this is the piece that I want to leave with you, is that through the training, when you practice with us, when you armor down, we'll show you and we'll teach you how to actually practice the skills that are required in order to interact with conflict with more wisdom. And that's where we started to introduce the art of peace. So the art of peace is not the absence of war. The art of peace is the interaction with conflict, the interaction with violence in skillful ways. And so what the earliest stanzas of the art of peace articulate is first, which is the video that we already did, is that it really begins with you. It starts with you. The conflict, understanding conflict and how to participate with it begins with you. And then the next piece, and this is stanza 2, is you don't need buildings, money, status. It's not if this was the right way or that was the right way, if only this, if only that. You don't need any of that in order to practice the art of peace. It's all right where you are. It's happening right now. It's the interaction with conflict right now. So you don't need anything special to practice. That's the second stanza. And where we're leading with this is how to be more wise, how to really understand the difference between identifying with conflict, becoming it, and participating with it. So you'll get on these free videos, you'll get the kind of the basic idea of what we're training this on the week, and you also get access to the art of peace, this kind of stuff. But really, if any of this resonates with you and you want to actually do it, you want to actually practice it, sign up with us on Patreon. Adam and I are just developing a very robust network that you can interact and participate with. And in order to keep it going, we need your financial support. So we love that you're interacting with the content that, is for everyone. But we really like you to train. It's the conflict that we're experiencing in the world around is not just going to go away. And so it's our responsibility to become better and better at how to participate with it. So check out Patreon, check out our social media, and hope to see you on training later.